All right, it's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order.
Maybe.
Do we do pledge allegiance?
We can?
I think we should.
Okay.
Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the agenda says that we're gonna do what Jeanette tells us. So, she first.
So salaries and benefits are not ready. I'll be changing it again tomorrow morning. So what's ready is general admin, which starts on page 6 and goes to page 16. One of the biggest changes here is Trio or Town Cloud. We have a meeting with Town Cloud tomorrow morning to get a status update and to look at some more demonstrations. If the assessing database is not ready to go, we're going to end up staying with Trio. However, in order to move the budget forward, I put in the Town Cloud amount, page 6, Bill.
I'm looking at page 6 and
I'm seeing benefits, training.
so I'm seeing budget.
Oh, wait a minute, sorry.
Page 8,
Page 8. Ken will keep me straight.
Okay.
page 8, bottom 3. Not a problem.
There we go.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. So in order to move the budget forward, I put in the dollar amount for Town Cloud, which is $15,000. Trio, to re-up with Trio, will be around $24,000. So if we decide to stay with Trio, then there's $7,500 later on in the CIP. We're going to ask the Board of Selectmen to provide us with the difference so that we could stay with Trio. But in order to get the budget moving forward, that's what we did.
And when will you know again?
We have a meeting tomorrow, and Lindsay and I are planning on meeting with Ravi after the whole meeting with everybody.
Yeah.
And we want to find out where is the assessing module, because they got the state of Maine all situated with registrations, but they're still working on the assessing module. So if that can't come with us on July 1st, then we're going to have to stay with Trio, regardless of how many issues we're having, because I don't want to ask you to pay for 2 modules.
Right.
So I don't think that's fair. So hopefully we get more and more updates.
One thing that I had mentioned to the select board, and she said to bring it up during budget, was the other program I had looked at for surveys.
For surveys?
For surveys, like we use MailChimp for the surveys, and so that's like $65.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the problem with that is when she goes to export the data, it doesn't, like, it actually will skip over data that was inputted. So
Yeah,
you have to
trying
go
to see.
back and actually compare side to side what you exported compared to what's on the screen. And I know it takes her hours on end to do the export.
It's not an easy module
No,
to use
it's,
at
I used
all.
to use it too, and it's very difficult. And
Yeah.
she's running the same thing where there was data and answers that were given to us for the comprehensive plan that were actually missing.
Were those open-ended questions or?
The other. So there's actually a spot for it, and they wouldn't pull through when she did the data dump. So then she had to go in and copy and paste. Some would go and some wouldn't. The other thing the higher end programs do, and they're not like, I don't know, some of them are $39 a month, some are $99 a month.
Yeah.
It's a monthly fee too. You're not stuck for the whole year in it.
Yeah.
The difference with that was like, it can also actually weed out double IP addresses. So you would be able to see if there was like, someone took this survey 10 times, it would flag it. So you actually would have actually more succinct data on what you're getting. Because,
gotcha.
yeah, and then there also gives you, but it pulls the statistics for you better instead of the way MailChimp does it and the way we have to kind of do a lot of the work behind the scenes to get it to show the statistics. So that was something she said for me to bring up at budget and thoughts
So-
and comments on that.
Like, what's the cost?
So like some of them, I didn't bring them with me because I ran out of the house, but I know like it's funny. SurveyMonkey is one of them, and that one the packages can be $39 to $99 depending what you
What
want
you
for
want
services
for it.
and how many you put out. And again, it could be a monthly fee instead of,
I think we
an
pay
annual.
45 now. a
It's
month.
65,
Is it 55?
65 for MailChimp.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what exactly are we surveying?
So it's the surveys that have been going out for comprehensive plan, as well as like Lungenut has sent surveys out to the public. And the last one we got 300 responses. But again, it's difficult to export the data. So it's like for the comprehensive plan for the next year, surveys go out to see how people want the direction of the town to go, to be able to garner the input and actually have it feed out without someone taking hours to bring it out. It's actually a really useful tool on the committees to know what people are asking and to have it see it there.
I disagree, but okay. Come to the meeting, you'll know what's going on.
That is a lovely just thought too, and I feel the same way, but we did get a lot of really good responses, and as well as Bernadette did as well. And then the town has done some of their own surveys. Karen's been part of a survey that has a really good data dump, but they had a good program doing it. It's very different than the MailChimp we have. It's great for an email program. It's not great for surveys.
Yeah, the issue I have with it is you get 300 responses and we have 3,000 plus voters. So what do you get?
Well, see, this is the whole,
10% maybe of the voter, of the people who live here.
Which actually isn't bad for a survey.
it's no different than 40 that come and make the decisions at town meeting, or 200 that come for a special
But
meeting
how
and
do you
make the
make a
votes.
decision based on 10% of the population?
The town does it all the time.
Yeah,
You know,
with
it's
lots
not
of
just the
things.
local people that,
Well, I think also the point that the committees are trying to do this year is also get more people signed up. Like we do have a plan to go sit at transfer station again, get more people signed up. We're going to see if the elementary school will let us put something in the kids' packets to go home for parents to sign up. There's a QR code to scan to get signed up for town emails, know what's going on. And I do think even recent events make people more aware of what is going on in our town. They want to know. People with kids, it's hard. They will take a survey if they get it. And that's one way, again, to get public input, which, again, I think is always the goal of any committee is to get public input. That's just my spiel. I mean, it'd be probably, you wouldn't have to have it for an entire year, and that's just it. You could have it for part of the year where you're doing surveys. And again, it could be $39 a month for the plan or $99, depending which one you went with.
In my marketing background, I've done a lot of market research and surveys, and the expected result of any survey is well under 5%. And there is a calculation you can do to calculate whether or not it's statistically significant and representative of your community or whatever it is you're surveying. I do believe in them. I think it's another way to get input because people don't come to the meetings, people don't share their ideas, so soliciting them I think is a good thing. I have worked a lot with SurveyMonkey, and it is a good program. I haven't worked with the other one that you mentioned.
Right. Well, like for instance, what happens with MailChimp is it tracks the email address that it went to. So we did have some people that you could see there was 10 times their email shows up next to a survey answer. Is it them or did they forward the email? We don't know.
Mhm.
And that's not really fair to depend on results. If someone is taking it 10 times, well,
Yeah.
that kind of stinks they did that. But if they're forwarding it, again, are they forwarding it to someone out of state? We don't know. And that's the hard part. This actually tracks IPs. So you would say it's from the town of Lyman, or, 10 people from this IP address took the survey. Well, then, are there 10 registered voters there? If there's not, then it's skewed, and it actually removes those duplicates for you. So they're not put into the equation of, because you actually can do like people that sign up, how many are in your household? And if you put 2 and then there's like 10 results, it knows to pull the extras because there's only 2 in that household because they're answering that question. So it's not tracking the person's name, it's tracking an IP address. It's not something any of us are seeing.
so even if somebody has a VPN, it'll still track the IP address.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a way of getting more clear, concise results, which is really important when you're talking about the growth of the town and the strong feelings that people have. And that's one thing that we've heard is how do you know the results are accurate? Well, with this program, I don't know. I can't tell you. I can only tell you what I see on the raw data. That does make you wonder what's being done.
MailChimp is a difficult program to use, and it reminds me of some of the the DOT programs a long time ago,
Yeah, it's great for a newsletter. It really
yeah.
is.
MS Word DOT.
Mhm.
So, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions on that subject or any other questions in this section?
I do. On the sign maintenance for $600,
What section, Ken?
What page?
you're on page eight, on page 8.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
still on the first page.
Yep,
Okay, the question is, didn't we pay somewhere around like $14,000 for that sign?
yes.
And only one side of it works? Didn't we have any insurance or any warranty or anything with that?
That's long past.
But it's
Is
only
that
2,
with
3
this
years
sign?
old, isn't it?
No,
Is it?
we got that in 2019, 2020.
Mhm.
It was my first year here.
All right, okay. I thought it was sooner than that, right?
No, it hasn't. I've been here almost 5 years now. And it was like around my first year here. And then one of the first budgets that we wrote in all this equipment so that we could host our meetings online as well, because we ran into the same thing that Dave's bringing up. How do we get information out there? So no, there's nothing left on that sign anymore.
Is that what that 600 is for? That
No,
sign
that's-
maintenance?
That sign, yeah.
No, that's for Brendan to come out, clean all of the connections, because that's one reason why the one side isn't working. Number one, it got overheated, so we put ventilation in there, and number two, it got really dirty. So he's been trying to work it to get it. He got one side back up and running, but he's been working on the other side, playing around with it.
Where's the money for that?
That's the
The
$600.
$600.
Oh,
For
so
him
it's
to
only
come and
about
clean
600 to
that.
fix it?
For him to come and clean it and do all of the stuff for maintenance, so we can at least have the one side.
So that 600 will put us back in business on the other side of the sign.
Not necessarily.
No.
If
Well,
it's
that was
completely,
my question. How are we gonna make sure that the other side of the sign works?
right now, we have no plan. It's probably completely fried.
You probably would have to buy a
New sign, a new panel.
I hope we reconsider before we buy another sign like that.
It's not even on the radar right now.
Well, it's just
That's-
unfortunate that the thing was built in with no ventilation, and that's what fried it out.
I think, well, I'm not-
Oh, that was earlier. I was doing the insurances earlier. Right now, I mean, that's not even on the table for
Okay,
a
you
plan.
answered my question. I'm happy.
Okay. Did that answer your question, Ken?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if the select board would consider something for a survey again, and if they think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I was thinking what we could do is get through the questions,
Mm-hmm.
and then the board could decide whether they want to vote on the number that's here
Mhm.
or whether they want to turn it back around to have it looked at for the survey.
Okay.
That was my thought process. I don't know what you guys were thinking.
Whatever works for you, Jeanette,
Okay.
What's
Well, I'm
EO
not running
zero?
the meeting. Huh?
the printer,
EO zero.
That is the printers that do your registrations out front.
Oh, okay.
they're not cheap.
What's the new trail cam?
So without putting out too much information in public, we've had issues over at Bungana Park. We have no internet over there. We have placed trail cameras out there.
Who's what?
What?
Who's getting the pictures?
Lindsay.
Well, I think they'll take them in over.
Yeah. so-
Lindsay can get into the database that's housed in the cloud.
The main membership, so the $7,600 is the membership fee.
That's our membership fee, correct?
So if you ask them questions, do they bill you on top of that? Or
No.
is it just and there's no limit to what you can find out from?
I've never had any issues with asking them questions. It also gives us a reduction when we take classes through them. I think it's like $190 if it's a class that they're hosting versus like $65 or $75. And every time I've called them, I've never had any
Okay.
issues with them.
Is the trail cam subscription in lieu of the security cameras that the IT committee recommended? Or is
We don't
that-
have them yet. So we are putting out the trail cams when there's a lot of activity out there.
I'm just wondering where does that IT committee recommendation stand?
It's not in
Is
here.
that
I
in-
haven't heard anything from the select board, what they want to move forward with.
Page 10, the storage unit rent.
Yep.
Is that just old documents that need to be scanned in still, or is that just old stuff from here? Or is it just there's no space for what's over there?
That's what
The
they-
voting
that all-
machines
it's all the
are over
voting stuff
there.
over there?
There's chairs over there.
I couldn't remember
There
if there
aren't,
was.
I don't think there's any documents at all over there. It's stuff that we have to keep moving in and out of this
So
room.
voting, but you move back.
Yeah.
It is
the
the
voting
voting stuff?
stuff and-
Okay.
The stuff you move.
Yep.
Because when you have to clear this room out.
Yep.
You have someplace. And originally, we were renting a truck every time we were
Right.
doing it. And so we.
Parking it in the yard here.
And they were
just
stacked
move it
over there.
We pay Dave to move it over there, I believe is.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's exactly what we do.
And then you were able to pair on still on page 10, the phones have gone down, which is great. Was that just combining?
Well, because it's internet,
Okay.
so I took a look at that and it's, I went with the history here.
Oh, nice. Good.
Can you explain on page 11? It says assessing requested $1,100. I mean, that doesn't tell me what it's for.
It's for, she has these placards. When she goes out to somebody's house, she puts a placard on it. It has her picture on it and her information. She puts it on the door. Specific things, envelopes that say assessing on it. Just some general items that she purchases to use.
This is a dumb question,
No, it's not.
but checks. Does the town hall still use a lot of checks?
Does what?
Checks.
Yeah.
Do you still have ordering checks? Do you still even with the electronic age? We still do a lot of checks.
The AP still goes out
Okay.
in a check format. Some are paid online, but it has a lot to do with so the ACH is not up and running in the AP and Trio,
Okay.
and it never has been.
Right.
And my question to them was, if we set up the ACH, will it automatically go when we post the AP? Or
Right.
can I send that file later after the board approves? So still trying to figure that one out.
Okay.
I didn't budget anything for that either, Michelle,
Okay.
for next year. Because I have some in there and I have purchase orders in there too.
Someday, right?
Yeah.
Someday.
On page 13, 80-830, advertising print forms. It looks like we're not spending near what was budgeted for this year, so I'm wondering, do we need it to be as high next year?
Because we haven't done the bookbinding yet. So in the vault, the paper that was being used during a certain time period, it degrades. So we've been having another company, take the books, put the papers, scan everything so that we have another electronic file. And Polly started that a few years ago. And I know every town I've been in, they've been trying to replace this paper thing that's happening, because something about the paper and the way it was made during that time period, it's disintegrating. So we can't keep a permanent record on that. So when we do the book binding, they take the books that are in the vault and they take the papers out. They make a scan of them. They put them in plastic, protective sleeves, put the books back together, and then we can use the scan, which
So,
we haven't
yeah,
gotten up
so
and
if
running
they're
yet.
available digitally, why do you have to spend that money on putting old paper?
Because they weren't available digitally. So they're doing the digitization at the same time that they're putting them into the books, into the protective covers.
Okay, so I
Is
guess.
that clear?
Yeah,
Or maybe I'm-
I think I'm not being clear. If it's being digitized, why do you have to keep the paper?
It says we have to keep the records. They're permanent records.
It's a requirement, yeah.
Yeah, it's a state
Yeah, it's a
state
state.
law.
State law to keep that stuff, yeah.
Yep.
And what's the miscellaneous for $1,500?
Which line are you in?
Same one, 80-830.
Because we don't, we're 1,500. In case we need something else. I don't know how much 1099s and W-2s are gonna cost next year. I don't have any idea, if we're gonna need something else, like, I don't know, some printing, or, it's kind of like we have a miscellaneous in the building budget in case the toilet breaks. It's one of those things we just don't know.
Okay, we're on page 14. Other mileage travel.
Yep.
Budget increase of $6,260 over last year.
We added for the director of facilities and recreation, we put in 5,200.
That's a new job.
So-
Not approved.
It's a new job that we don't have.
Right, because it's in the salaries. So we've been talking about that, but there's a lot of travel between all of the different places that this person would need to go. So that is the difference, the biggest difference there, is adding in the director and what the director may need.
This is off a little bit, but do we have a job description for this person?
Lindsay has a list of things that we've put together that need to be done during the winter, during the summer, during the spring, during fall, and she's given it to the board to look at.
Did we get a copy of that?
I can see if she can give me a copy.
But that's in payroll, and that's in part of the salaries and stuff, and that has not been accepted yet, so I
Right.
can't see how we can do things here for something that has not been approved yet.
I agree.
So you want to table this discussion on 110? Well, let's finish the questions and then we'll get to the end of it,
Where is that?
because there might be other questions.
What page you
I do have a
14?
question, like road commissioner obviously is on the road a lot. Where is the mileage for the road commissioner somewhere else?
He
and not
never
here?
turns mileage in. I've offered several times.
Okay.
Does that
Mileage is never considered part of the salary? It's always
Not for him.
additionally?
Yeah,
Yeah,
not for him. So his salary is based on, he's part-time. So with part-time on salary positions, there's a minimum in the state of Maine on what you have to give that person. Does that make sense? So his salary is based on that minimum. I offered it to all of them.
So Does that cause kind of a problem down the road if you do get a different road commissioner here and like sort of the plowing thing at the transfer station where Brad was just doing it and then we got holy moly surprised with what plowing was going to cost?
Mhm. It very well
Would that
could.
be the same thing with this, that if you did get a different, if Tom
Yeah,
decided he's
It very well
retiring,
could.
you could wind
Um,
up with another $5,000 item or something for travel? You don't have any idea what it would be?
Yeah, it very well could, Michelle.
Okay,
Basically, so he has a business that he's
Right.
working. And he says, okay, if I'm out on the road at my business, what do I
Right.
do? I charge to go over here and then come back and do the paperwork and just
it's difficult to
didn't feel
figure
like-
out, right?
yeah, it was
right. I get
cost-effective.
that. I'm just thinking if they're, just because it would be something that we'd have to be aware of just for
correct.
when he retires or decides he doesn't want to do it.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's something we definitely have to keep in mind.
We've had the discussion before about the electrical inspector.
Yep.
Does he follow the same thing as far as pay, as mileage is concerned? I know how
He gets paid
There's a
for
way
it.
He gets,
paid,
he gets
but-
paid mileage.
He gets paid mileage.
So if he leaves a job in Saco and comes here, he gets his mileage
He does
paid
mark it.
for.
He does do
So
that.
why
Okay.
is
But
he
it's-
not listed here?
Because as we've been discussing in our quarterlies,
He's paid different.
you see it's a
paid
negative.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's
Yeah.
paid out of,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
he's paid out of what he brings in.
Okay.
That's why I said it was, we've had this discussion
Yeah.
before, but I didn't know the answer.
All right.
I see Southern Maine planning is $1,900.
Yeah, they're working on the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, no, I know that. They're gonna do it for that.
Which line are you in?
I'm on 39,315.
I don't think that's for the full.
That-
that's
No, that's just our
That's-
annual membership.
Dues.
Oh, that's the membership.
That's the membership,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
that's the membership, that's not
I understand.
what we're,
That was-
I was gonna say, holy, are we in trouble?
That ain't much money.
No, that's a mailer.
Yeah, that's just the
Not even.
membership.
On 8810, 80-810, page 15.
Yep.
We haven't spent anything year to date against a $2,000 budget. Oh, I see it went down.
Well,
But
the
what
thing,
is that?
because everybody was asking me, how much does the planning and codes department cost? And how much are they bringing in? Oh, a year ago, 2 years ago? That's the first time that we started breaking it out. Does that make sense? We didn't break it out before that, Karen. They were listed in with town hall. Because everybody was saying, well, how much is the department costing and how much are our fees? I broke it out and created a whole new department number so we could
Mhm.
start to get a hold of that, just like I did for elections.
Mhm.
Okay, well, this looks like it was budgeted in 24 and 25, and 0 was spent in both those years,
Correct.
and now we're budgeting for 850, so.
So the
just
person
questioning whether or
in,
not, it's not big money, so. I'm
Yeah.
just questioning why we need it.
in 24, everybody was brand new in that department. And then in 25, the person who was in that department wrote this budget. So
Mhm.
it's the inconsistencies with department, with personnel.
And on 90-999.
Yep.
That's going from 7,500 to 26,250.
That's
That's from ordinance review, but what is that? Can you-
that's for SMPDC to help them out,
Mhm.
to do the review on
So
that.
that's the number that
So I
you're
saw
asking
that
for
somewhere.
that.
Yes.
I saw that somewhere else.
No, I had moved it from somewhere else from the year before because it was listed in 3 spots. in this year. So I put it all in one spot
So
for
is,
next year.
is comprehensive listed in general, or is that supposed to be somewhere else?
I think it's somewhere else.
Comprehensive is somewhere else. They're supposedly, comprehensive will finish up
You're right,
in ordinance review, so there's gonna be that overlap
right.
at one point where comprehensive will be finishing up and ordinance review will be starting. That's my understanding of it.
Mhm. Yep. But the line item for comprehensive plan is in a different place on this one. The comprehensive is in a different place on this one.
I believe so.
It's not in general.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's listed, if you go to page 16,
Hop right over it.
it lists out everybody that is concerned with that line item. So ordinance review, IT, buildings and grounds, it's a committee line.
Right, I just have no number in it, that's why.
No, because it was all one. Oh, I'm sorry.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Because I knew
I'm
we
wrong.
were, I
I'm
knew we
wrong.
were 40.
So ordinance review, and then the committees, and I think. And their requests are in the back of your book.
Yeah.
So this was requested by them. That may be the one. Maybe I just stuck it on that line, Michelle.
On what line?
Because it has everybody encompassing, but it's for the ordinance review. Comp plan is requesting 26,000.
But we had the new one with Jamal, remember that?
Yeah, so it's gonna be, so Jamal's gonna be working on some sections
Right,
and
because
what's
it
the
was
other
like,
lady?
wasn't it like 40 for total for both? Was that including what we already had?
Michaela's gonna be working on other sections. Jamal costs more than Michaela does.
Right, but, so the 40 that we were told completely was already counting some of the money that we already had from this year? Is that what
From
it
this
was?
year,
Okay,
yes.
there we go. All right, gotcha.
I'm paying bills currently
Correct.
on that.
Correct. Okay, so it's from the monies we have there. Okay, thank you.
So there is money there.
I just got a question. So you have ordinance review, SMPDC, page 15. Then on page 44, you have Southern Maine Planning for ORC, 23,000. And then Southern Maine Planning for Comprehensive Plan, 26,250. Is that a duplicate for ORC?
Is it in the same year or is it in next year?
This is in the packet you gave us.
Yep.
That we're working on.
I'm wondering if it's, hang on. Okay, tell me where you are.
Page 44.
44, down near the bottom. The 33310, you get 26.
Yeah, 23,000
yeah, that
for
is-
ORC.
Nice catch. Okay, so,
I don't think that's a duplicate because, well, it's, for ORC, so is ORC supposed to be
Yeah.
different? It's not supposed to be 26 on the other one?
ORC is 23,000, which is what they asked for. Comprehensive plan is 26,000, which is what they asked for.
Yep.
So yes, it's a duplicate.
So the 90-999 on page 15 comes out.
Yeah, that should be well.
Yeah, we need to move that.
That's gonna make it a lot nicer.
Nice, thank you.
I know, I was trying to figure out how they were all in different places. Okay,
So I'm gonna remove that.
okay. Okay,
So we're at the end of general administration.
mm-hmm.
So if my math is right, we're looking at 158,024. It would be 184,294 minus 26,250.
Correct.
Can you see the number again? Sorry.
158,
024.
044.
Oh,
044.
44.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Thank you.
I don't have my calculator. Is there any more discussion on,
I suggested we table this until we find out about the employee, because if you take all the thing for the new employee, the salary of $68,000, which they haven't covered yet, what's in here, 5,200 miles for miles, 500 for a rec department, it's $73,700, not including benefits.
you want to make that motion?
Yes, I do.
I'll second it. Second it. Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Tabled.
Okay. So then we go on to general admin insurance, which starts on page 17 and goes to page 18.
So that's gone down to,
Well, I brought it down because of historical,
so you found something
Reason.
good, yeah.
so I brought it down to I took this year's bill because I had gotten it
Yep.
and gave it a 10% increase.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions on the individual items?
Nope. Always nice to see it go down.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for $31,221 for general admin insurance services.
Second.
All in favor? Passed.
Contingency. So you guys had brought up the last time we met to make a recommendation to fund at $2,500 for 2026 and to ask for the rollover for 2025. So I brought that back with a ceiling cap of 5,000. I brought that back to the board and they loved it. So do you want to move forward with that?
I make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
So Health and Human Services, Social Services, we kind of stalemated on that the last time we were here.
Did we do animal welfare before?
We did.
Yeah, I think that one's done.
So we got stuck with Social Services.
Stuff, is what you said?
Yeah, somebody wanted to add something else to the Life Flight, and
It was
It
the,
was- the vote just kept getting stalemated.
it was the one that I
It
had
was like
spoken,
3-3.
right, it was that program that does,
You
it was,
brought it up, Michelle, it was sweet.
Sweet
yeah, it was Sweet Sir. It was the difference for the families they service in our town. And they were asking for a small donation, and I just thought they were showing what they're serving in our town, and it's a great service, and, things are rough all over, so it's just something I thought that would be a good thing, because it really is a true service to our community members. And I'm trying to remember the amount.
It was 1,500.
Was it $1,500?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion again and we'll go with it. So I make a motion that we propose $1,500 for Sweetser for the request they had for the shortage that they have in serving our town. And then I think, was it 46 families?
I'll
to the-
second it for discussion.
Discussion?
I think it's worthwhile. I think mental health is just such an issue now. It continues to grow. I've heard nothing but great things about that organization. So
Mhm.
I think they are servicing our community and it's not covering the cost. Then $1,500 isn't going to break us to support it.
I'm trying to find so they spent in 2024, they spent $77,638.51. And they only received $67,949.96 in payments. And they serviced, 45 families in Lyman. And they're only asking, and again, it's mental health, it's all kinds of services. And you're right, it's really, mental health is a big,
Who else
Problem.
funds those people? Obviously, they're getting the money from somewhere.
let's see, if they say. So the difference is attributed to your residents not having an ability to cover the cost of treatment, but no one should be turned away. They need the help. Let's see if they say.
24/7 as well.
But they got that money.
So it's basically insurance is how they get that. They do bill insurance, and then there's the uninsured that they're also servicing that they just get. Let's see. They depend on generosity of committees like yours, private foundations, and individual supporters to help ensure access to mental health and treatment is available to all. So that's how they get their money. It's fundraising, private foundations, and individual supporters. And again, billing insurance companies, but they serve the uninsured as well.
But they also just bought a big building downtown Portland too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you need a building to do to do things though. There's I do believe they do great work for the community and that, I don't think they're egregious in their spending. I really don't, from the experience I've seen through the years and people I know working for them as well.
Any further discussion?
I am certainly not going to support a local government funding a private organization that is also billing insurance companies.
Well, isn't that what Lifeline is? Lifeline,
Yes,
whatever
it is. Yes, it is.
And if you remember, I was against that too. But
All right.
Consistency.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? What's next?
If somebody want to make another motion on Health and Human Services?
Oh, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept the $2,631.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, passes.
Okay, transfer station.
What page are they on?
I'm getting there.
Oh. I figured you had it memorized.
Starts on 34.
34?
Yep.
Can I go back a second? Did we do Health and Human Services outside of that social services?
Yeah, the whole 20
The
GA?
whole thing.
The
was-
2600
Yeah,
is
that was
That's the
GA.
whole thing?
Yeah.
So can I go back and ask a question?
Okay,
The GA position, is that being filled?
Yes, we have somebody temporarily, but that's in salaries and benefits as well. But we have somebody filling in temporarily right now.
Okay. Okay.
So what you just voted is what what's not covered if we do pay out GA services. I'm trying to find it. So there's $1,000 budget for it because the state funds 75%. So for the other 25%, and then there's mileage and supplies. Mileage for classes. I like they're doing a lot of hybrids lately, so
Mm.
I'm a hybrid person. So
I like
And
this
somewhere
too.
else I saw training for GA,
that's in benefits.
and it was 0. Oh, but we'll get there another time.
It wasn't requested.
But if we have a new person, it might be necessary, was my
Yeah,
kind of thinking.
I think we have some room there.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
okay, transfer station begins on page 34 and goes to page 38.
See, the contract services went down. What was the reason for that?
What?
5280 to 3505,
What line are you on, Dave?
about the first one.
We've only spent 527 year to date.
Oh, that's year to date.
No, 527.
Well, it was 100.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so I went
Okay,
back and
yeah,
looked at refrigerants. And we brought that down
Mhm.
according to the data that we're actually using.
But this 52 is year to date. Right?
No, that's your 2025 budget.
That's
That's
total.
2020.
Okay, that's the
That's your
total.
2025
That's the
budget,
budget
yeah.
I was looking at what we actually spent, and it's only been like $527 year to date. So I
Okay,
thought
so
the
the-
number still looked high.
Actual,
And this expense summary report that we got from you, the
Yeah.
last one, that's through January?
no, that's through on the last select board meeting.
27th is good dates on the top of it.
This is what the through date?
Yeah.
All right.
So I run those
So
pretty much every time I do a warrant article, do a warrant or do a payroll. I will tell you, it's a little slow up there right now, which is kind of nice. Yeah, we're at 527.
Yeah, so 3,500 seems really high if you look at it that way, unless I'm just missing something.
Isn't it more
Well-
so the time of year you have people come spring cleaning and here comes
Spring cleaning, yeah.
here comes the boom.
And the other thing that we have to do this year, this coming year, is we have to remove the,
Valves
on the
gas tank.
propane tank. Yeah, so we've been caught on that, and that's gonna have to be done.
Mm,
And the same person who does the refrigerants can do that for a good price.
that's good.
I thought to take it to junk, they have to have 2 holes in
They told us we had to remove the valve.
them, which is 1. Suppose you have to put a hole in one.
That's not what they told us we had to do. Did Randy say that? Because that's not what he told me when I had him on the phone.
Maybe the junkyards are different, but I've been in the propane business for 35 years. And in order to get rid of them, we had to put 2 holes in them.
Well,
Take the
maybe
valve
he's
out,
putting a hole in it too for that price.
Put a hole in it.
Maybe the guy that's gonna do it, because this is all new. Maybe the guy that's gonna do it, because he has tank propane nozzle removal and for X price. So maybe he puts a hole in them too. I don't know, Ken, to tell you the truth. When I had them on the
Regulations also
phone,
changed.
huh?
Maybe the regulations have changed. It's-
Okay. I had the guy on the phone and from CIA and we were talking about it and he said you have to remove those nozzles. And I said, okay, what else are we gonna do? And then I also spoke to Burke Iron and Metals And he said the same thing. You
Yeah, well, it
have to
makes sense.
remove
You
them.
don't want to be putting the full.
You
tank
don't
in.
want to blow them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know about a balloon pond.
And for the second hole, that's probably, they don't want you somebody putting the nozzle back in, you're reusing the tank, I don't know. It makes sense, so I would think that whatever has to be done,
Oh, yeah.
because we're hiring a guy to do it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the same guy that's doing
I'm
our
sure he's doing
refrigerants
what
will do
has
that.
to be done, yeah.
So, to Karen's question, you guys want to lower it? Stay put.
Where did this number come from? Did it come from Randy, or did it come?
What, the 325?
Yeah. No,
3.5.
3505.
Well, I had a different number from Randy, and then the select board asked me to go back and look at what we were paying for refrigerants, because we also found a new guy to do that. And so I did, and I pulled up all of the invoices for the year, and then I summarized them into the $1,500. So we actually cut that line, I think, in half
From what Randy had?
from what Randy had.
I don't see a big issue there.
No, I believe it.
Okay, any other questions?
The 35-351,
Yep, tipping.
yeah, so year to date, we've spent under 18,000, a little over $17,000. So where does the 43 come from? It looks like
Year to
every year
date
we've been
where?
significantly under budget. Our spending has been under budget in the expense summary report.
Okay. And then if you look at, because that will go up in the spring as well, spring cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
So then in your books, there is also, I keep a detailed report on tipping for weight and cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
It's a spread.
11 by 17, 11 by 14, maybe
Yep,
11 by
right here.
17.
I can read it.
So historically, our bulk has been at around 360, 350,
Yeah.
somewhere in there for tonnage. So if we go to the tipping, I have it at 400 ton. So that does give you a little bit of a buffer.
Just in case.
Do you need help, Karen?
I can't make heads or tails of this. I'd have to spend some time with it, I think. I don't know what I'm looking at.
So if you go to the bottom of that report, it says by weight. So I have each year by weight.
I'm looking for wood. Is it not
It
there?
says bulk.
This is
Oh, bulk.
bulky, it's bulky.
Okay,
So this is the hauling. This is hauling.
yeah,
This is weight
yeah.
down here. So if you look at bulk historically, you can go down bulk, bulk, bulk. So it ranges from 350 to 380.
Yep.
$360. It was $435 in
Yeah.
2022. So it kind of is a wild card. You didn't, I'm so upset nobody memorized the book before you came.
I tried.
I know you
You
did.
haven't even memorized it, you didn't know what page we were supposed to be on, come on.
Luck you.
I just think it's too much. I think we spent 22.9 in 2023, 25.2 in 2024. We're only at 17,000 now, and we're asking for 43. It just seems too high to me.
But see, the price went up too.
Not
Yeah, well,
significantly, did it
10%.
double?
From 97 to
Over
100.
Would it have
10%.
been almost double?
Over
So-
10%.
43.
It's
How
gone-
many,
it's
how
gone
many
up to-
tons did they use last year? Doesn't say.
Well, they had tipping at 1,900 last year and they're doing 1,770 at 107.50 instead of 97.50.
No, she's looking at.
Yeah, the price of
bulk.
hauling went up, yeah.
So
A
She's
bulk?
looking at the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still the same thing. It's
So far this
97.50 to
year-
107.50, 450, and they're doing 50 more pounds.
The difference in price is $4,000 on the 4,000, so it's, so.
So far this year, we've spent $10,640
This
It's-
is on the-
and it's
the
March.
bulk.
on the bulk. So if you look at the expense summary report, let's make sure I get the line right,
I have 17,290.
356.
What page? On the expense summary?
Page 8,
Thank you.
and this was 10, so February, March, April, May, and June, you still have left to go.
Yeah, 17,290.
So I have
So that's
6,000.
177 tons at 97.50 year to date.
No, at 107.50.
107.
Oh,
This year's
okay, sorry.
97.50.
Yeah, so if
I
you're
thought that
gonna,
rate went up in the middle of the year, though.
how many tons did you say it was?
March. or
177,
Beginning
so-
of April.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the
Yeah,
full
that's
year,
right.
but
If we, I would say.
only if
yeah,
it's
you're
not
right.
a half
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, if we use, I mean, we get 5 months to go, and we haven't even used 200 tons yet. You wanna go with 450?
What, do you want to lower it? I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm just
think
trying,
we gotta look
I'm
at-
trying to give you information that your
I'm
job
thinking-
is to
Did you-
decide that.
Did you get the weight from Randy? Is that where you got the 450 or is it just from
No, I took it off
averaging?
the bills.
Divide
Off the
by
bills?
seven.
Yeah, it was
We make it
12.
422, I think, in 2020.
97.50.
If you take the average, it would be 304. But
Okay,
if you,
times 97.50.
30,000.
30, you wanna make a.
35 if you want a
motion?
cushion.
You wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I want to know how much ton, because that's how I figured it out.
Yeah, so far you've used 177.
Okay,
So we're assuming that it'll be like 300.
so last year it was 362 or 363 ton.
Okay,
That's what we actually spent.
well, yeah, but we've got 450 on this, which is probably way more than we're gonna need.
So in 22, it was 435. So
And it was 441 in 2020.
give me a tonnage that makes sense. And I'll figure
476
that out.
in 221. 435 in 2022. 350 in 2023. 362 in 2024. And right now we're at 131.84. So
No, that was as of
for
October.
25, right?
Yeah, we're at 177 right now.
Yeah, right now, so if we,
I
So
would
do you
say-
wanna
I
say-
would say based on 350 tons, we should drop it to 37.6.
350.
350
Karen,
tons.
That was the 350 was the lowest it ever was though.
so in
Like that was
Let me
that was
just
the lowest it
throw
ever
some numbers.
was. If I'm-
22,
What's the average, Michelle?
it was 435. In 23, it was 350.74. In 24, it was 362.99.
So if you
Looks
took-
like
Average is
It's going all
380.
over the place.
So the average
Yeah,
is
that's why I
380.
put in 450.
Well,
I don't
the
know.
actual for 24 was 25,000. The actual for 23 was 23,000.
So basically, Karen, the
It's-
lowest was 350, the highest was 4 something. The difference
Yeah.
is 126 pounds. So if you maybe divided that in half,
I just took the three and averaged them out. That comes to 380. At 107.50, it would be $40,000, $40,850.
So do 41,000?
Worth worrying about.
Yeah.
So what's the tonnage you want to go with?
I think we should leave it as is. I just think that right now with,
Yeah, but we're honing in on your number, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that far
Does
off.
anybody want to make a motion? No, we don't, not make a motion.
No, no.
Keep going.
Well, I want to know what you want me to do. Leave, are we
I-
leaving it or?
No, we're fine.
Oh, yeah, we got there.
Okay, all right.
You convinced us.
But
Silver tongue devil.
I'm just saying.
I've been called way worse, buddy, so there you go. Okay. Because I do all these numbers based on the weight that we're doing. I take that right off the bill.
Page 35, we have two categories that are 35-352.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. Because EcoMaine does not take the batteries and the light bulbs. We do that with a different company.
So what's the,
It's the composting program that's being started, that
that's for
3,000.
Tibbetts.
Yeah, I think so.
But this.
The 3,000.
No, the 352 is what we're talking about.
Oh, the
right?
352?
That's
There's
with
two
batteries?
352s.
There's two 352s. There's the contract services waste
composting.
composting.
Because I don't have a new number
Oh.
for the composting. I'm sorry.
Oh, so that's the reason it's 352.
Gotcha.
But that's for the composting program,
yeah, I'm
correct?
picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, is everybody aware what that is?
Yes. It's exciting.
You could do it in the backyard with the rest of them.
That's what Tibbetts does.
I'm thinking of my
It's
little.
really gross.
I'm thinking of my little
I gotta use.
development. If I did that in my backyard.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
They'd love you.
Oh, my neighbors in Berwick loved me, even though they were far enough away when we had piglets.
On page,
So, oh, downwind.
on page 30, well, 36 and 37, you have other miscellaneous repairs,
Yep.
which jumped that line up, which is like the 5,000. Did you kind of have an idea of why that was?
We went up 1,500 for the backhoe maintenance.
Okay.
On the hydraulic hose
Hmm.
went up this year. I don't
Everything
think
went up.
I've ever
Okay.
paid that much for a
Yeah.
hydraulic hose, ever.
I don't
And
think
I've bought in a lot of them.
I think people feel that way about plywood too right now.
Yeah. I don't know
Thank
about
you.
that, but yeah. So that's one of the reasons why it went up so much is because maintenance is just going up. We added 1,000 for a gravel out back because the trucks kept getting stuck
Yep.
out there. And then miscellaneous repairs, we increased that 4,000 because we had rails that needed to be fixed, but you can't tell they need to be fixed until they come out. So once I got fixed, when it came out, you turned it over, the other side needed to be fixed. So those
Oh,
kind
geez.
of things.
Did we end up with a contract on those compactors?
Yes, he did.
What's health and wellness for in that category?
If they get a needle stick and they have to go to the doctors, those kind of things, thankfully, we've never had to use it since I've been here. You never know, though.
Not something you want to mess with.
Hmm?
Nothing you want to mess with.
No, I don't.
Mm-mm.
I'm hoping that never happens.
Mm.
What are we on next? Oh,
We're gonna accept that one.
We do I have
So I'll make a motion for $363,185 for transfer station.
Second,
any discussion? All in favor?
Parks and Rec?
I just have a question on repairs and maintenance. It looks like 1657 was spent last year. This year it was budgeted 1,000, but there was an additional 165 adjusted in. So is 1,000 enough for that?
I talked to Holly about it and it should be enough for that. She had some parts that went missing. So she had to replace those. We should be okay because it was 1,000 the year before.
So it says 24 budget in here.
Does I need
Is that
to
an error?
delete that? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Is
Thank
my rec program in here?
My rec is
That was in
in
general admin.
general admin.
Yeah, we saw that earlier. It was one of the first things.
It's in 110, 30, 32, 310, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So for my rec program, it's what we pay for is based on usage. So we're starting off at the lowest level at $2,500. I just did all 400 videos in the training, which was so much fun.
Fun.
2,500 for the year?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at because it's based on usage. So as we build programs and build things and look at it in, excuse me, they have something called scholarship in there, but what it really is after watching the videos is it's fundraising. So it's really kind of a cool program. People can get on, it's got an interactive calendar. So if you want to see it in action, Biddeford has theirs up and running.
I looked at it, it's pretty cool.
That's kind of cool.
Mm.
On page 39, the new position for $1,000.
Yep.
My objection to this is the same it was before, and I made an error in my statement before. It's not 7,207, it's 74,200. Because I had 500 rather than.
Is this $1,000 of the new positions gonna come out of this?
That's what this $1,000 is.
For that position that's new?
For
programs.
programs. For
That's just the
programming.
programs in a day.
Program, so that, to pay for that.
The
person's program.
new person who's got the program is gonna do programming for that, you got mileage and you get salary, plus benefits.
What is programs for that person?
So that person's going to take a look around and see, okay, what can we do? If the volleyball court, what do we need to do to get that up and running so we can rent that out?
Know what it costs?
I have no idea. So
A lot.
So we wanted to put in a little something so that person had something to work with. But given all of the tasks that need to happen, if we get to that point, that'd be awesome. And just putting in some programs or doing some programs. Maybe we do a fishing derby.
It could be something for the elderly or for the
Yeah,
other
I mean-
things that there's no programming for.
right.
But we have that under Parks and Rec, don't we?
There-
Doesn't Parks and Rec cover that with the additional programs and that's budgeted there?
For what?
Well, we didn't want to take away from the committee for the
Right,
and
that's
give it to
the,
all to this person. So the committee's working on programs that they do. They do the Christmas stuff, they do Halloween, they do Easter, they do the tree
Yep.
lighting.
fairy
um,
houses, the
Yeah,
the
so
ice fishing thing they just did.
part of this job is going to be to help create programs that are going to generate revenue. And we didn't want to interrupt the committee or stifle their creativity because there's some awesome things coming out of that committee,
Mhm.
So we put a little bit in for this person.
I'd like to table this until we have the table discussion.
Let's wait till we get to the bottom of it. I got
I
a
mean,
question
can I-
about this.
can I-
What is
Dave, can I,
snowshoe hike for 7,000?
Oh, it's just the whole total for all
It's
of
the
it.
total.
That's the
It's
total.
not
It's
just
all the
this
programs
show.
listed.
It's all the programs.
Snowshoe hike is all the programs?
No. So the 7,000
Everything
is
listed.
for
Oh,
snowshoe,
so
snowman.
each one of these is, but that's just the total?
That's just the grand total. Yeah.
All right.
You know, I know we haven't gotten to salaries yet, and I can sense the feelings towards the new position that's going to be presented, but there was a citizen's petition to keep the town manager separate and distinct from every other position in this town. Everything in our town has gone to hell. We do need someone watching this stuff, and if we're going to upgrade fields or do things, we do need someone watching this stuff instead of the transfer station going into the train wreck it is in our salt shed, because no one's been watching stuff, or Chadbourne in the shape it's in with holes in the
I don't
stuff. So
understand.
I'm just saying that because I
don't
keep,
understand why the salt
I keep
shed
saying
is
we're-
gone anyways, because
well,
the-
I'm just
the
saying that
salt shed-
nothing's being looked
excuse
at.
me, The salt shed should be handled by the road commissioner. It always has been, and it should be now. I don't understand why
I don't
it's
know,
not.
is it his job position? It is in his
The
description?
last two took care of it. I don't know what's in the job description. If it's not there, somebody forgot to put it in there, but Brad did it and Morris did it.
Well, that's what I mean, though.
Well,
Someone still needs to be in
you
charge of stuff.
hang on. I don't want to get into personnel.
No,
I'm not getting into personnel. I'm just saying
because
that
that can be a worm that we don't want to deal with. That person has also been dealing with salt shed. Okay? I just want to get that on the table.
I said salt shed. My apologies
The-
for bringing it up then. I
the-
should not have
it's
said
okay.
that one.
So the problem is, when was it last greased?
when was it last, what?
Greased.
The salt
When,
shed?
when was that door last greased?
When did?
This is
when-
the
When
problem.
did Brad leave?
That I don't know.
I don't know.
Did he do it when he was here? I mean, I don't want to
Right.
get
There's
in-
no,
I
there's
don't
no
wanna
record.
get
There's
into
just
it.
no records and it's someone to keep track of records.
Right, I don't want to get into it, but we had 2 loads. This is what happened.
Anyway,
Two
we're
loads.
not on that discussion
Okay.
right now. That's out of order.
My
Now,
pro-
now we can,
My
now
problem,
we can accept your,
my problem with this is that we do not have a job description. That's why I'm holding off. If we have a job description, we know what this person's gonna do, then maybe we can figure out what the money should be spent for it. But until then, I'm against it.
I suggest you make the motion. To table.
I make a motion table the rec. I want to preface this by saying that I think that the information that we have with the rec program and the amount of money they want is fine. I just have a question with $1,000 that's in there, so I'd like to table the whole discussion for now. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Table.
Okay, next, computer reserves. So as I said earlier, we're looking at going to Town Cloud. We use $7,500 to reserve that, to reserve our space and reserve the $15,000 a year for 5 years. We need to replace the $7,500 into the computer equipment fund. And if we have to stay with Trio, that's where we're going to take the difference. You can vote on these separately because they're CIPs.
Okay.
Oh, let's vote. Is there a motion?
I move the $7,500 for the computers.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor? Passed.
Were you good, Ken? Okay. Okay, compactor reserve, $7,500.
So moved?
That was a program we came up with last year, and I think we should keep it up this year. I make a motion, we accept the $7,500.
Second?
Discussion?
We have 114 in the reserve. Is that right?
In the transfer station revenue reserve, not in the compactor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is our first year with the compactor, so you have 7,500.
Mm-hmm.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Town hall reserve, Lindsay met with the,
Is this
Our-
expansion?
yeah, well, it's part for the expansion. Lindsay met with the architect the other day. We should have some numbers, but we won't have them till late April. We talked this morning and we said we feel comfortable with 100,000. Now, we were putting 50,000 in CIP for the last 3 years. And it hasn't been used. So I moved that 50,000 from CIP up into here so it could get reserved so we can use it and keep using it. The other thing we're going to be doing is a warrant article to ask whatever balance is left in the 50,000 be transferred into this account as well.
Have all the deeds been signed and the survey been done?
Yeah, that's why
So
we
that's
we
why
were
we're
meeting
moving-
with the
that's why
architect.
We're moving to the next step.
We're finally getting to that point.
All right.
I think motion to accept the $100,000.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? One opposed.
Revaluation, we upped this to 300,000, given the cost table updates.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be 200,000 after seeing what they
The estimate's coming in.
proposed, just to do the cost tables. On
Where are we?
revaluation,
Did we
38.
skip the other ones?
no?
No,
That's
we're
next
in
one.
the next
Page
one.
four- Page 41.
It's the next one down after the 100,000.
I see that, right? Mine doesn't. Reserves, town reserves. Oh, revalue, I see it, I get it. I see it right there. In front.
And Jeanette, that is different from down below the 95,970 that says property equalization project?
Yes,
That's-
Yeah,
that's-
totally
that's
different,
entirely
I
different.
always ask
You get the
that.
picture too.
No matter what it is, it's still gonna cost the taxpayers more.
Mhm.
that's the proposal we just got,
And
Yeah.
which made me raise this a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. I make a motion for 38,000 for the town reserves for the revaluation.
Second,
Discussion? All in favor?
South Water Road, gone. Property equalization project, we're not done, we're not there yet. We just got the proposal, the board's reviewing it. We need to see what is gonna happen. Capital improvement, adding 15,000.
Are we doing these line by line or in one?
So,
Yeah, you have, they're all
Okay,
CIP, so they have to
even they-
be
okay.
voted, that separate warrant articles.
so we tabling that one?
The equalization,
That's
yes.
stable.
Okay,
Yes, because they just got the proposal, and then they had questions. So we went back to them and asked them some questions. Lindsay has sent out to them the update, but they haven't discussed it yet.
That's pretty steep, because that's about what we paid to have the whole reevaluation done last.
Well, that's why I
Of course,
increased
it
your,
didn't go through.
so that's what I was saying, Dave, is after getting this proposal, I went back and looked at the revaluation and said, what's gonna be realistic?
Yeah,
And so I increased that to 38,000, so we'd at least be at 300.
Cost of services has increased crazy.
Capital improvement,
I make a motion for 15,000 for capital improvement.
second,
discussion? All in favor?
resident disaster relief fund.
can you explain that?
So a few years ago, right around when I first started here, there was a fire at a resident's home. The resident didn't quite qualify for GA.
Oh, yes, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I
this
remember, yeah.
this is for those people who don't quite qualify,
But need a little help
But- need some help.
from a disaster.
Exactly.
Yeah. I make a motion for the 5,000 for resident disaster relief.
second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Bunganut Park, 25,000.
It says 20,000 here.
25,000.
Flip the
It's 20.
page.
Oh, we've gone to the wrong place.
Yeah, that was last year's.
Oh,
That's the historical data.
there we are, okay. Yeah, it was 20,000 last year and 0 before that.
Because they finished up with Kennybrook Pond, moved on to Bunganut Pond.
Yeah, it's a great job.
Yeah, we did. I'll make a motion for discussion. On the 25,000 for Bunganut.
I'll second.
What exactly is the plan to spend this money on?
There is no plan.
Yeah, that's the problem. There is no plan.
So they were looking for a plan. They met with Acorn Engineering, I believe it was Acorn, and a bunch of people went out there with them and they traveled around and they saw several items that were hazardous, completely hazardous. So they did fix those first. The plan is to get a plan, but we have so many things. That bridge was just unbelievably hazard. So they fixed the hazards first, and that's what they did with the first 20,000. We were hoping to get plans from the committee, plans from the board, what do you want to see? They've done now, I believe they did a survey. Yeah. Survey on what to do out there. That's where we are. So we're in the discovery period, but we had some significant hazardous issues that were not known to the town office or the select board.
My biggest issue is that there is no plan. The money just goes up and around.
I can tell you from when I left the committee and actually when my husband was working on the bridge, there's piles of gravel stockpiled that were donated that are going to be used to help the path on the way down, which that's not an easy project. There's a lot of water diversion that needed to be done. So there is material there to be used to put there. I mean, I know that's something that was going to be planned to be used. I don't know who's.
I know the dumpster would get stuck right there too.
But Bunganut is a big operation.
So you need
It needs
something.
a total overall plan rather than we'll do this little bit over here and then we'll try to do this one over here. Oh, but
The
don't-
path down is unsafe for
They're-
sure.
They're trying to get to that point,
where's the
Dave.
total plan?
So
We're
I was
trying to
on,
get
I
to
was
that
on that committee, and the town's had 2 years to come up with a plan, and nobody has come up with a plan, and I agree with you 100%. It's a huge undertaking, and if you listen to people talk about Bunganut, everybody has a different idea on what should be done there. And nobody has been able to pull that together and come up with a master plan. So I too am against putting any money against this with no plan.
Well, I think you would need the 25,000 to have someone plan it out.
Well,
Well, then come up with a
yeah.
plan,
No,
to have
to-
somebody plan
to
it,
pay
and
someone to
say,
do it.
Okay, we're gonna hire an architect.
Well, how much did it
and
cost
have
David
done.
Mays for Kennybunk? You, at a minimum, you'd know what it costs, about 11,000 to have a plan for
Brought
a teeny
that to
tiny
the
area.
committee.
No, what I'm saying is that's an idea that you would know that's at a minimum for a very small park. It cost 11 grand for someone to design Kennybunk. So you look at the size of Bunganut, 25,000 is nothing of what you would need to get it started, and they would be able to orchestrate a plan if that's what everyone's looking to do. But to say 0, it brings the park to a total standstill.
Like I
That's what
said,
I see.
it's been a long time, okay? I mean, I can remember the hue and cry for a plan for Bunganut a long time ago, back before the 20s. And it's, oh yeah, we're gonna get a
1920?
plan, we're gonna get a plan, we're gonna get a plan, and it never gets happened.
But we have a
Never
town,
happens. They keep throwing money at it.
we have a town manager though. I really do believe it would come to
Well, then the town
fruition.
manager should know we need to
We've
get a
had the
plan.
town manager for the time that the Bunganut committee was together.
Yeah, and
as well.
she's had her
Nothing
hands
happened.
full of being
Let me finish.
fought.
Can we,
You know, and I think you may not agree whether or not the town should have spent money on Kennebunk Pond, but that project got done. It was planned and it got done
I'll
to
give you
plan.
that, it had a plan.
can we restrict it and say that the $25,000 will be expended if there is a plan, a professional plan done, and this money goes to a professional plan, rather than have a bunch of people say, well, maybe
I
we'll
would
do
think
this?
we could
Yeah,
restrict
I
the
would
money
say
to
that would
say
be-
it can only be used for planning.
There you go. Okay.
Well,
Can we do that?
but wouldn't you want
We
to,
could write that in the
if
article.
someone had a plan to fix an area for $10,000, shouldn't they be
No,
able
no,
to
we
do the
want the
plan
whole
and fix
plan.
it?
We don't want to plan to fix this area this year, and we'll come up with a plan next year to do this area, but, wait a minute, they're not
You
compatible.
need
We
$100,000
need
then
a total plan.
to do both
25,000 will
sides?
get you a long ways into that plan. Because when you hire an engineer to do a plan, you hire them to do a preliminary plan first. And you pay them to do the preliminary plan. It'll take them,
Well, this is one of the things that's on the top of that new person's.
that person is not gonna be an
That's not a
engineer. so
professional.
he's
We don't
not
have,
gonna
a
be
we don't
plan.
have a job description yet.
Right, you don't even know what that person.
We keep writing it down.
Didn't I just see an email go out, a request for proposals to increase boat access at Buckeye? They're asking for bids.
I don't think it's for,
That was.
The
for-
town.
Well, that's for, no, that's for handicap
that's
access.
for, that's the
That's
ramp.
for-
Oh,
That's for
it's for the
handicap
ramp,
access.
for the
That's for the ramp.
handicap,
That's
yeah.
for the handicap.
Because we have, so Karen and Joe got a grant to purchase the ramp. But it's over $10,000. And according to your charter, we have to go out to bid to do this. It had to go before planning board because it's on the water. But yeah, that's what that is. But
Okay.
But see, here again, that's not in the plan. The plan doesn't say we need to have handicap access, and usually that's the kind of thing you put at the end. But here again, I'm
no,
just
we
saying,
got the money.
I agree that we should not be funding $25,000 for miscellaneous work that's not been planned.
So
So I don't
we
know,
want to,
I want a plan.
can we recommend that we can recommend, but that doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but we can recommend that. We can do two things, we can say no money, or we can say that 25,000 can be used for planning.
But I think that it's, I think you'd just say just a plan. Again, there are things that can be tackled, like the mansion needs work in the worst way. There's
Well,
mold
see-
on the building there.
How do we know
Because
that
it gets
that's the
those
most
things,
important
though.
thing
So
to
what's
do?
what's the priority? And if you do this thing, how do you know down the road that what you did over here
Correct.
isn't gonna
But,
negatively impact? what you
Exactly.
I'm
did
just
over
thinking
here?
that, safety of kids, if you have mold in a building that's rotting, you might want to replace the boards there. So, I mean, you need some funding to do some of these things,
I said all these things.
I understand there definitely needs a plan for sure, but listen, there's a material that's going to sit there and rot at this point.
It should have been done a long time ago.
And I don't even
100%.
think you need a professional plan to start. I think you need to have people come together and say, from the town, this is what we want it to look like. This is what we think is important. This is where we want this, that, and the other thing to be. And if you agree on that, then fine. Then you hire the engineer or the architect or whoever it is that's going to probably piss all over your plan. And
Well,
then-
but you make it workable.
But-
and make it workable and tell you what it's gonna cost, get your permits for you, all the stuff that I think the town's been struggling with.
But people did say they want trails. 25,000 would
they do.
easily be
But
eaten
where?
up in
They want
trails.
other things
I think
too.
this
There's
is-
trails over there, but they need help. They're a mess.
I think it
So
would be
So how
easy,
does that fit into the plan?
it would be easier.
they're already established, lady. For 25,000 would clean them up.
If this was wooded and it said $25,000 for maintenance at Buckeye, then that might be
Correct.
different than what we're trying to do with it. But that's not what it says.
You get increased revenue.
Oh, 100%. But I do think that, at 25,000, to me, 25,000 is maintenance. It is to go towards to fix things up that are a train wreck over there and dangerous and trails that are dilapidated that can be fixed up.
So,
I made a motion for the 25,000. I think that's where we left off.
no, yeah, and somebody seconded it for discussion.
Right.
So,
Now, is there any further discussion on that motion?
well, Dave, how do we want to word this to say?
No, we have to vote that motion down if we want to change it.
Okay.
Is there any more discussion on that motion? All in favor? All opposed?
Opposed.
4-1. Opposed. Now, we can talk about what we propose to do. mean,
I can take it back to the select board and
yeah,
say,
I think that,
can you change the language here
yeah,
to say for maintenance of or
I
purpose
think it would
of?
be better for you to take what we think, and I'm gonna say what I think we think. We think that the 25,000 should be spent for planning purposes. Come up with a plan, and then they can come up with incremental costs over the next years to implement that plan. But to take the money and throw it out there to do odds and end jobs,
And I don't think it'll take 25,000 to come up with a plan, so there might be extra in there to get some things.
well, you'd be surprised what it'll cost. What did it cost for the plan at Kennebunk? I bet you paid
I mean,
you
to get
10 or
it
12
away,
grand.
It was only like five grand to get it started.
No, what did the plan
Overall, the
cost?
whole thing, throughout the whole project.
The plan, what did the plan, you hired an engineer.
I think close to five.
He did it for 5,000? Well, that's good. And they ought to be able to get one hell of a plan then. And all he did was a small section of beach while he did the arms, I guess.
All right, is everybody on board with saying plan?
No.
Is there any money in the budget for maintenance of Buckeye at all? Just any maintenance?
Just a little bit that you saw
Yeah, they
in,
got that 7,000, I think. Is that
in,
what that is?
just in Parks and Rec, or in, buildings and grounds. Yeah,
That was a problem.
nothing significant.
I don't think you can limit it to just planning.
I agree with the plan idea, but I think we also gotta have some more money for maintenance per se, up there, period.
Well, I think
I don't
probably
disagree
if you
with
bring
that.
it to the select board, they're gonna come up with, they're either gonna say, no, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna have to come up with a different plan, or they're gonna come up with it, and you're gonna be at the meeting, so maybe they'll ask.
I go and keep my mouth shut.
I go and try to keep my mouth shut, that's why I don't go, I listen to it on tape.
Suffice it to say, I think it would be a much better idea if they came, if the select board came to us or and said, okay, we want $25,000 for Buckeye, and this is how we intend to spend it. Line by line, this is for trails.
But
this
it's
is
not
for
the select board. Let me give you some background, okay? Buckingham Park asked for 40,000. The select board backed them off to 25.
We asked for 60.
Oh, they asked for 60.
We matched what another
They asked
committee
for
did.
60.
We did.
And the select board backed them to 25.
Okay.
Now, what we're saying is, or I think we're saying, is that we think that 25, rather than be spent on miscellaneous in sundry projects, it should be spent on planning.
Yep.
So that we have a plan for what's gonna happen. And it ought to be like a 5-year plan. What are we gonna do for the next 5 years in Buckingham Park?
But it's
Yeah,
been
no
so-
different than asking the road commissioner for what projects he's gonna do in the budget that we're approving for him.
Correct.
So maybe the town manager does have plans that are planning to go forward down there, and if she does, then this whole discussion is kind of moot.
Well, if she did, she probably would have brought them up when they 60 to 25.
I haven't heard anything presented to the select board.
No, I didn't either. Okay, let's,
There's been nothing
I move
discussed with the
that
budget committee.
we present it to the select board like I said.
I just don't think you can limit it to just planning.
Does
I
anybody
think,
second that?
look,
I
there's still
second
more
that.
trees to
Okay.
be taken
Now
care
it's
of.
discussion. Do you have discussion, Michelle?
I think there's more trees and maintenance that does need to be taken care of. I mean, they were not able to get to all the trees that we're supposed to maintain because they couldn't get in there. There was still more stuff that needed to be done.
So increase
There's stuff down the Y
maintenance.
end that weren't done because they couldn't get down. There was like a limited time and the snow hit. There's still dangerous trees down there. There's still stuff that needs to be taken care of.
That should be in the maintenance.
That's
budget.
in the maintenance budget, right? That's $7,000 in the maintenance
I
budget?
don't even think I don't think that would be even enough. I mean,
No.
Increasing that.
That might take 2 trees,
yeah,
maybe 3.
there's a
They're
lot
close
of damage
together.
down there. There just is because it has been neglected for years. You know, and then you have the parking lot that wasn't finished. That still the parking is tight over there and it's hard for the families coming for games.
I don't
you
think
know.
anybody's arguing that there isn't a whole lot of stuff that needs to be done there. I think we all see that. and
Then we would have
appreciate
to
that,
upgrade the other
But
amount.
All we're asking for is a plan.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? 4-1. So I guess pending that, we need to table the rest.
No, we still have fire
We can
hydrants.
discuss
Oh, these one at a time we're approving?
Yeah, these are one
The
of
The
the.
fire-
Oh, okay, I'm
the
sorry.
fire
I was
hydrant
at the
was-
bottom.
Did we, you have
So-
done, we already did fire hydrant, right?
No,
No, we didn't.
so fire hydrants is not ready. They asked me to give Matt a call and speak to him, so that's going back onto their plate. Charter Commission, $1,000.
Anybody have a motion?
I'll move the motion for $1,000 for the Charter Commission.
Second,
Discussion? All in favor?
Day Road Bridge Culvert Cousins Bridge. So we
Oh, that's
came
okay.
up,
I kept looking for Cousins Bridge, and I
Yeah,
couldn't
I-
find it.
so we came up with a plan. The culvert's good for another, we had an engineer look at it, good for another 3 to 5 years. So we came up with a 3-year plan using LRAP money and a reserve money. So it's not being hit all at once. So the 3-year plan is 100,000 out of taxes for 3 years. This is going to be about a $500,000 project. And I put it in here. 520 is the number that we're giving an estimate to, because it's 3 years out. 225 from LRAP and 300 for a 3-year reserve
And I guess we're gonna replace the culvert.
to replace that culvert.
The $520,000, that's today's price or is inflated price for 3 years from now?
There's a bump there,
Okay.
but it's not like a huge one. So if things are stable, we'll be okay. If they're not gonna, if they go crazy, we're gonna have to rechalk.
What does the road commissioner have to say about it?
This probably-
He's been involved.
That's his proposal.
Yeah, the town manager, and he have spoken quite a bit on
Okay.
this bridge. And like I said, we brought out the architect, to take a look at it, gives a lifespan, and he said about 3 to 5 years. So we started making a plan for that, and we actually all sat in Lindsay's office and came up with the 3-year
I believe
plan.
that's a galvanized culvert that's caved in, the top is caved in.
Yeah,
What's-
that
What's
happened.
holding it is the road
Yeah,
surface.
That's what happened at Private Road.
So,
Hopefully they put box culvert.
and if they keep the limit of, 10,000 pounds going across, it will be all set. But if some truck guy with a trailer truck goes across it, he gonna be in the middle of it.
Yeah, and they're all cutting across there.
Anybody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion for $100,000 for the Day Road Bridge.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
You good, Ken?
Yep, sorry.
Okay, nope, that's okay. Outsourced general admin, we're still waiting on what we're gonna do with the Y.
Oh, we haven't got an answer with that yet.
Don't have that from the board yet. So outsourced other starts on page 45. This is the library, Lyman Historical Society, and the PSAP fees.
So this list says outsourced general ad done, added Y contract at 10. So that's,
Above it. No, we don't know, it's
So that's-
not set in stone yet.
all right. Sure.
I have a big question mark, and that's why it's
Thank you.
yellow.
Yeah.
They're still going back and forth, so.
so library stayed the same.
Do you know what the balance is in the Historical Society? Is that a reserve carryover? It isn't?
Nope,
Never mind.
just like the library where we write them a check.
They usually give you an accounting though, don't they?
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So how do we know how much they've spent?
They spent it all. Because they gave us a whole, so they give us an accounting of what their yearly activities are, but it's not, well, this is the 5,000 from Lyman and this is what we spent on. This is all of the money that we've gotten and this is what we spent it on. And it's above that, 5,000.
They do such a great job.
Then I'll make a motion that we accept the $209,804 for outsource other.
Second,
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Okay, other CIP. Town hall next phase, as I said, I moved that up to the reserve account instead of asking for it every year and losing it. That seemed to be a better place for it. Networking equipment swap out.
So the 70-710, that's different than the computer reserve.
Yes. So we have a plan on what needs to be swapped out when. Like these 3 computers were purchased 3 years ago, so they need to be swapped out this year. This equipment needs to be swapped out this year. We have an actual plan on that. The computer reserve account is for when something goes wrong. When we lost our power and the generator wasn't working, I know I keep saying this, and our Cisco box blew up. That's what that account's for. So in here, there is a request for new generator. And we've got a quote for 17,000. We did get a grant for 3,000.
So the grant was already, I'm sorry.
Do we only have one quote, or do we have more than one quote?
We just have one quote right now. We'll have to go out to bid, but that was the estimate we were given.
The grant has already been submitted.
and received.
Grant has been submitted and received.
But the balance hasn't been approved yet.
That's okay. Well, I mean, if we don't use the grant's through,
Yeah, they'll just take it back.
they'll just take it back.
I'd be happy to take it back.
Yeah, and it's something, it's through MMA. So that's, we apply for them all the time. And we, every year, and say, this is what we want to use it
And what was the
for.
estimate?
17,000.
And the master locks, what are those for?
Those are programmable locks because everybody and their mother in the town of Lyman and outside of the town of Lyman have the code to all the locks at the field, at the park. So these are programmable locks. They can be changed through the cloud. We can put in a code for Karen. We can put in a code for Michelle. And it tells us when Karen uses her code, when Michelle uses her code, very similar to what we have here.
And they get internet up there, they don't need it
We don't need it for
for
that.
that.
And the dugout roof is for where?
What is,
Chapel?
Chapman.
what is the range on those?
On the locks?
Yep. Can you use, if you love Buckinut Field and you're here, can you change it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's, I don't know how they do that, but. I'm not-
It's a cloud thing.
technically-
It's cloud based.
Yeah, but it's gotta get to the cloud.
Gotta get to the cloud, we don't have any communications up there, right?
Yeah, there's no internet up there, so how does it,
Lindsay knows
I mean, the
all about
alternative is
it.
to do like they do with the game camera, you pay the phone company to run it for you.
We don't have to pay the cloud for these. She
No,
didn't
you're
give me a
not the
thing.
cloud, because it won't make the cloud anymore. Well, I don't know, but.
I don't, honestly, I don't know exactly how it works. She's
I
been
sure
working
don't.
on them. I've seen them. They're really cool and they're used basically for real estate agents. So if you ever seen those locks for the real estate agents, what it
Same thing.
is.
So
Any
I
more?
saw this and then I saw Knox box somewhere else. Are those two different?
Knox boxes for the fire department.
Fire department. Yep.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion for 29,848 for other CIP.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Okay,
70-790, is still there, right?
Yep.
Okay. 10 picnic tables at 150.
Yep.
I mean, hopefully we get the grant for the picnic tables that we submitted. But $150 picnic tables aren't gonna last.
They're not wood,
No, I know.
they're
They're
plastic.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just,
That was,
I
you
mean,
know, we
last
looked
ca-
it up.
Last count, there was 24 that needed to be replaced, so I think this is just starting to try to replace what are there, and they might not last.
50 tables?
70-790.
It's still cheaper than buying wood that's gonna,
I mean, if they're $200, then we only buy X amount,
right.
you know.
Oh, so, okay. Here we go. Yeah, $150 tables, so
They're
it
cheap.
might you get a year out of them. maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not gonna last, especially if they're stored outside.
That's my problem.
So maybe we get less. Would you like to increase that line, Karen?
No, I.
Well, I thought I'd throw it out there.
Well,
We can increase it if you
Any more
want.
discussion?
Hopefully we'll
That's
get
okay.
info on
I'd like to
grants.
put a restriction or something on the $14,000 for the generator until we get bids for it or something. You know, Could be more, could be less, I don't know,
Yeah,
but
but how do you,
There's no way I can get more quotes. I mean, those people, we were lucky to get that quote
yeah.
because
I don't
they're
know what
so
kind of-
busy, Ken.
what kind of a
Until we
restriction
have the
you
money.
put on it?
until we get a bid or something.
What if we don't get a bid before town meeting? I mean, they gotta do the warrant, we gotta get this, I mean,
What if we do get a bid
If-
before town meeting and it fails?
if they
I
need
mean,
more money, they're gonna have to figure out how to get it. If they don't have enough, they're not gonna be able to do the work, so I don't know. I mean, I can understand why you're saying that, but I don't know how you restrict it by saying
Well,
we're
we're
not gonna
res-
approve it unless you get another.
But our charter says that you gotta have, anything over $10,000, you gotta have 3 bids.
That's
Right,
correct,
and-
but,
Not just at
but
the
our
budget.
charter doesn't say we have to have an exact estimate to put into the budget. A lot of the stuff that's in the budget isn't an exact estimate. It's an estimate of what we think it's gonna cost. If it costs less, it goes into surplus. If it costs more, you gotta figure out how you're gonna get the money.
Yeah, but if it goes into surplus, it's in the bank account, their interest, not my interest, that I've had to pay taxes for.
I don't know,
So
17,
you're willing to hold
That's-
up approval of the budget for $14,000. And that's the bottom line. I mean, I agree that we should have a number, but I don't know how you get a number. There's a lot of stuff in here that doesn't have a number.
I mean, I know just to do a small generator for our house, just minimum was 10 grand. That was just the hookup and everything.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with the fact that we need a generator, I think.
Yeah.
But we don't need a generator because every time we storm, everybody goes home, so. I mean,
Well, it's
Well,
not,
well,
that's
that's-
not the issue. It's
yeah, I
like,
know.
even though they're not here, if the pipes freeze, we're in trouble.
Well, the computer fried out. That's
But
what
if
happened last
something
time.
tells me that something's wrong if you can't put the heat on this and give up something else to have heat in this building.
It wasn't just the heat. The computers in the back room blew because the AC wasn't cooling that room. They came in and a whole CPU was fried. That was a
Yeah,
massive amount of money.
Well,
That's when the website and everything went down.
For the new-
That's when that happened.
it will be, it's supposed to be big enough to handle everything. Right now, it's, okay, if we're out of power for 5 days, we have no heat, you know?
And then you have no
And that,
cooling.
the amount of electronics going on in this building is really eating at the amount of that generator. It's sucking it dry. So you got to sacrifice one or the other.
Does anybody know what the KW is on that generator, how big it is?
Yeah.
How big is it?
Well, you said anybody and not me.
True story. She got you.
Atta girl.
I'm tired. I'm punchy. What do you want from me? I don't know.
In
So
order
the
to
person
not-
who,
In order to not hold the budget up, okay, I'll agree with it, but I'm not gonna vote for it.
Okay, that's fine.
I disagree with the generator thing.
Okay.
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 All in favor? All opposed? Vote
Thank you for
on.
playing.
See, you're not the only one that didn't vote.
Yes. Oh, wait. We need a date
Date.
for the next meeting.
Well, when do we have stuff to talk about it?
Well, the board meets Thursday, so
So I know that we already, I have to find where I put it now, we already said okay for buildings and grounds, right? We approved
Mhm.
that. However, since we did that, John Tibbetts came and told us that we probably had room to renegotiate our mowing contract. So, do we have the ability to go back there and talk about that again?
the
Make
board is considering that as we speak. So you may get it back.
We may, but what if we say we want to get it back?
We
Do
could-
we have an
we could-
opportunity to
we
say
could-
we
You can
want to
rescind
get
your
it
We
back?
could readdress that issue, I would think.
You could put that on for your next meeting if you
Yeah.
want.
Because, I mean, I agree, but I heard the meeting too. If it can be done well, if you look at history, we did it for like $25,000 a year until all of a sudden it was $50,000. Tibbetts says he can do it for half of that. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I think we ought to at least put it out to bid.
Yeah, at least look at it.
25 grand is a lot of money.
Well, it was put out to bid. I sent you the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
I saw that, but there
It
was
looks like
only
there's
2
room.
bidders and
Yeah, I have a question about that too, because I saw that too, thank you for sending it. When a low bid, like 2 bids come in, he was the lower known entity, they went with it. Does anybody ever go back and try to renegotiate, like negotiate the price down a little bit further and say, we don't want to spend $53,000, is there someplace we can cut? Does that happen?
it could happen, but
It-
but didn't.
I mean, if it's not clear cut, they might go back and ask a question.
I think it becomes difficult because when you start asking contracts on people and start going down,
Well-
how do you get people to bid contracts in your town if they think they're
Well,
going to drop you
Let me
2
give you
years
an-
in?
Let me give you an example. So the bid process is the bid process, and it's meant to be fair. That's why it's a sealed bid. So this one place I was at, they had the sealed bid, okay? And people had bid it, and people were there for the opening of the bid. And this argument started. And one of the bidders said, fine, I'll do it for free. Now, is that fair that they got to change their bid at that point? Just food for thought.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't,
We don't have a
obviously, that's
breakdown
not
of-
fair, you'd have to go to each bidder.
Well, there's a lot that
I'm
can
just
be done
curious.
in the town through the bidding process that other entities can't do. And a lot of it's written in there. The town doesn't have to accept the bids. They don't have to take the low bid. There's a lot of issues. But
Does the present bid that we have for mowing, does that have a breakdown so we know what they're doing, bugging out, we know what they're doing here?
Right here.
Yeah.
This is it from last year. This is from him. I
it's like
sent- I sent-
50,000. the total
That's
is
right
like
there.
70.
That's not what it costs us in those places, right?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I asked for that specifically and I got that specifically.
Last
All
year,
these numbers, last year's pricing, so his prices went up this year. I specifically asked when I called all those towns, because I did want to know how other towns do it, because I don't understand, because it is painful that, and I just found that we're field heavy in our town. Other towns only have 2 fields that they're maintaining.
Is that what you gave me? And I-
Yeah, on the second sheet, I was able to ask, and I called specifically and asked for an exact breakdown of what our mowing contract covers and what
Yep.
the cost is for each place. And this is what I got. And the other stuff I got, the information I gave you guys, that is phone calls to treasurers and town managers, and that's where I got all the information. Except for the population, that was from the US Census, but it's all data from the exact sources. And I did ask when I called, I said mowing, what do you, for mowing your fields? what is it and how many fields do you have in your town that you maintain? Because I think Waterboro has 6 fields, but you only maintain 2. The rest of them are privately owned. So we have 4 fields, and a lot of towns only have 2 they're maintaining. So that's where I got the numbers, because that's, and like with Shapley, their maintenance on their field was very similar to ours. She gave me a full breakdown and an email, the manager over there, and it was very similar to what's being done, except for they did have tick remediation included in their 14,000. So, and if anyone wants the email, I'll forward it to you. Just let me know. But I just reached out to them, just wondering how these towns do it. Waterboro is different. They have a Department of Public Works, but their line item for their 2 fields is the 7,700, and they broke that down for me, or 9,500. Sorry.
That's the total of all.
Yeah, I don't know, we'll see what it's an issue, I agree.
Okay,
It's been an issue for a long time, by the way.
so the calendars are filling up fast. Your
So they're
next
having their meeting Thursday, you said?
Thursday.
Thursday.
So we can have us like next week?
So I have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, wait a minute, what's next week?
You gotta get notice.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
We
gonna,
need 1 week's notice.
you have to give a.
Right, so we're on the 11th, so I have Tuesday, the 25th, 26th, 27th. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are open at this moment in time.
I'm not
Very
available
clear.
any of those. I'm only available the 24th.
Gets taken.
So 25, 6 and 7, anybody can't make any one of those?
I can't
Me.
make the 27th.
Okay.
I can't make any of those.
Anyone?
I potentially can, the 25th, I have to ask for coverage.
25th? Everybody happy with 25th?
Sure.
25th.
I'll put it out.
I'll reserve it for you.
Thank you very much.
You will?
Okay, is there any other issues? No other issues? I will accept the motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much.
Look, we were unanimous.
Yeah, unanimous.
All right, I just sent a text to see if they can cover for me.
So I will see you Friday.
Yes, sir.
Got it?
How do we do on that? Did I just bid what we low bid on the?
459.
Yeah, I figured.